So when you are working, you can use
So guys, let us start our session today. In our last class, right, we have discussed something on Excel, VBA, what is VB scripting and what is macro, what is VB editor, right? Okay, I have prepared a small presentation. Online guys, are you able to hear me? Fine. In our last class, right, we have discussed what is VBA, introduction to VBA. Okay. What is VBA and what is VBE? And what is VB, and then we will be discussing what are objects in Excel. So we will be having objects, something called which we will be doing something with objects, and explain what is object and how to make use of them. Okay, types of models. As I shown you in the last presentation, right? We have model, general model, class model, and user form model. Those three will make use of coding, how to write coding in different ways using class models and keywords. What are the keywords present in VB operators and statements? How to make use of keywords? Okay, data types and arrays. Uh, so we will be gradually covering all the topics: event handling, error handling, working with Excel objects, built-in functions. What are the built-in functions available? Built-in functions means, see, like in Excel, right? If you want some cell and let me open an Excel sheet. Built-in functions under enter. See, if you click something here equal to, you say L, large, LCM, left of, length, all these are called as function, built-in functions. Like what are all the built-in functions and how to make use of that, we will be discussing. User-defined procedures, program controls and loops, and recording macro. Firstly, actually, I will start with the recording macro. As we do not have programming knowledge, right? If we come from this topic, you will be knowing how to record a macro, how to record steps you are executing. So, how those steps are saved, and how to make use of those steps. Okay. And this is a small definition which I'll share you this PPT. You can have it. What is VBA? Visual Basic for Application. This is just again like reiterating in my last class. Okay. What is VBA? Visual Basic for Application is an implementation of Microsoft event-driven programming. See, we are writing some code, right, and we are triggering some code, right. How that code is firing?
Hello, Srinivas.
Yeah.
Could you record the test session?
Yeah, we are recording this session.
Oh, okay.
So VBI is something called as event-driven programming. So anything cannot happen or anything cannot show their values until and unless an event was fired. Suppose we are executing a macro using Alt plus F8 and we are clicking some macro definition and stepping into execute, right? This is called an event. Alt plus F8. You are opening the commands which you have written some macro, right? And you are able to see the macros which you have written, and you are selecting that and clicking on OK. This is something called as event-driven programming. Okay, event-driven programming, and it is called, we have IDE, integrated development environment, in our Excel, and we'll make use of that integrated development environment to write our coding and execute it. And next thing is like why VBA is required. VBA, as discussed in our last session, right? In our PPOs and call centers, the data will be stored on the Excel. The most organizations will make use of this Excel only, because it is easy to save the data, easy to retrieve the data, and easy to perform calculations. We will be having many formulas which will be very useful to people sector. So Visual Basic for application enables developer to build user-defined functions, procedures, and many things, and automate the manual process. What is Visual Basic Editor? The Excel Visual Basic Editor VBA is a very user-friendly for development environment. VBA procedures developed in the VBA becomes part of workbook in which they are developed. Actually, we have seen like something like in VB editor, if we have sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3 and Excel workbook, we are able to see the sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3 on the Visual Basic Editor, right? We can write coding in that particular sheet, or we can write coding in modules like the user module, general module, class module, and user form module. So which is the best again? Writing the code on the sheets or writing the code on the modules? Basically, writing the code on the module is the best thing, because if you write code on a particular sheet, then that will be useful for only for that particular sheet. Okay, but if you write coding on the general module, it will be useful for everything.
అసలు ఆటోమేషన్ ఎనివేకి ఎక్కడ ఉపయోగపడుతుంది?
అది Raj can tell you that, because I am also into automation anywhere, and I don't know how this VBScript will be used in the automation anywhere. That's what, right? Raj asked that prepare some VBScript such that we have something we will execute, and we will see, and we will get the result in written from the VBScript what it is. So VBA procedures developed in the VBA becomes part of the workbook in which they are developed, and when workbook is saved, the VBA components are saved automatically at the same time. See, whatever the code you write in the VB editor, right? Whenever you close the Excel macro, it will ask, it will prompt you a message box to save or cancel, right? If you click on the save, the data on the Excel sheets, Excel workflow, as well the coding which you write on the VB editor will be saved automatically. And we do not have any separate tool to install. While you install the MS Office, the VB editor comes along with that for MS Word, irrespective of again application. MS Word, MS Excel, or MS Access will be having its own VB editors. The VBA IDE, Integrated Development Environment, is reached from within an Office document by pressing the key sequence Alt plus F11. And what is a macro? So in VB editor, we are writing some statements called something in programming code, right? This is called as a macro actually. So a Excel macro is a set of instructions that can be triggered by a keyboard shortcut, toolbar button, or an icon in a spreadsheet. So I have shown you something in the last class called developer option, right? Developer tab on toolbar. So in that toolbar, we are having Visual Basic one button. So if you click on the Visual Basic, so if you have written any macros on this model, class model or something, general model, that will be displayed. So it is telling the same. Icon. Macros are used to eliminate the need to repeat the steps of common tasks over and over. Suppose consider a PPO organization. They will, on daily basis, some reconciliations, some data reconciliations, some data operations they will be doing. So example, see, they will be adding some column, some A1 to A10. There are some values, right? So they will be adding the values, each equal to sum of A1 to A10, something like that. So to avoid this manual process, once they record this macro on daily basis, they are going to do the same work. Then they can make use of this macro. Okay. Okay, tasks such as adding or removing rows, even see, after doing some calculation, right, they will be deleting some data. So data in the sense, data again is in the form of rows or columns. They will be removing some data rows or data columns. Even that can be automated, deleting column or deleting a row, deleting a row and column, protecting or unprotecting worksheets. I'll show you that later. Selecting a range of cells or adding the current date to a spreadsheet. These are the operations commonly done by the APO sector. In Excel, macros are written in Visual Basic for application. For those who cannot write VBA code, Excel allows you to record a series of steps using keyboard and mouse. That Excel then converts into VBA. I will show you. So today we will start with record macro. So how we can make use of the record macro option.
Macro and
Macro అంటే something like what we write the code. This Excel, whatever the code you have written, right, those we call as macros.
the code which we have written in Excel is called macro.
Yeah. Sorry.
The code which we have written in Excel is called macro.
The code which you have written in this VB editor, those are called as macros. Something like this. Last class actually I have shown you where this developer tab is available, right? Actually, we have not saved the workbook.
Actually, laptop.
Last class, yeah. So once we save on the workbook, the developer tab remains there. Okay. Click on the developer. Here it is something called as Visual Basic. This opens the Visual Basic editor and macros. Whatever the macros you have written there, the code that will show you the list of macros available. Alt plus F8 also does the same thing. Alt plus F8 also. Alt plus F8 keyboard option, keyboard shortcut will show you the same thing. And here we have an option called record macro. So before going to this, actually, right, I will dump some data over here. Okay. Some development for testing.
Automation.
Whatever. Yeah. They're having some experience like this. See.
Yes, .NET.
They're having salary something like this.
5,000. 10,000.
You see, the particular BPO process might be on daily basis. See, they will have to do something like this calculation. So they want to make use of some, and they want to see something salary. So whatever the monthly salary or daily wages they are giving. So now he has came here and he is seeing some here, right? So how we can automate it? I'm deleting this. Okay, and clicking on the record macro option. Record macro. You can use a macro now, whatever you want.
Example, whatever. Employees will be
From this point, right, whenever you click on the record macro and you are giving macro a name and clicking on the OK button, the record starts. Whatever the steps you do here, the steps will be recorded. So now I'm saying that it's equal to sum of. Okay. So where this macro is recorded, let us see. Just created one more module, module 2. See, all the steps were recorded. Yes, see something it is telling that active cell that pharma one some this two here this length and it is selecting the length and it has applied some formula. Okay, now see I will delete this thing and also I will delete stop recording. You will stop recording this thing also recorded. Now see select the macro and then run the macro. Employee salary details.
it.
Maybe I have shown you something very which is very simple and small thing. So on daily basis, those calculations are performed and they are doing on daily basis the same thing. So instead of doing repeating the steps on daily basis, they'll make use of these simple macros to perform their daily basis operations. Something you can make use of. And see, if you are seeing this command right, it is not like very good for you. See, what is happening, you are not going to understand, right? Simply add to cell that formula R1C1, something it is showing. Add to cell that formula R1C1 is equal to, now it has performed some calculation, right? I will be telling you how to write steps in such a way that easily can be understood later. This is something Excel has written, not we. Okay. Okay. This is one thing which is called a record macro. Record macro, everything can be recorded and you can make use of that. And see, now I want to show you something called as some sort operation. Sort is there. Right? So we have employees like this, right? Sort operation almost everybody knows, I think.
Yes, yes, yes.
So if you want some particular data to be sorted, select that range of data from there to here. A1 to here. And then click on the sort. How you want to sort by employee name. Okay. Those can be sorted. Even this step, this also can be automated. We will see how to automate this step. select the data. After we press on the record button, you have selected the data and go on to the data tab and select, sorry, not filter, select sort, click on the employee name, sorted. Now you stop the recording. Now you stop the recording. See, again the data comes to original format. Now see, go on to record macro, sorry, go on to macros button, swap data. So again see, now if you are seeing this code right, again you will be confused. This is the code. Like as of now, see just a code, and you need to practice what is a record macro, how does it help you. Even see, you have recorded some sequence of steps, and one time it was executed, and you have done something on the Excel sheet, and again you try to execute the macro, you might get some errors. Okay, those errors I will clear. I will tell you how to clear those errors later. Okay.
The program అంటే ఆటోమేటిక్ అంతా కదే
దాని అంతా కదా రాస్తుంది. We did not type any steps over here. Right?
ఎక్సెల్ షీట్ లో మనం ఏదైతే ప్లాన్ చేస్తామో దాని ప్రకారం
చేసుకుంటాం. Okay. Okay. Now something today I'll explain you what is how to write a program by thinking logically. So we all know that even numbers and odd numbers, right? 2 is an even number, 3 is an odd number, right? Today we will write a small program how to you enter some value on a pop-up box, and after clicking on OK button, you will tell whether it is a odd number or an even number. Even you can tell whether we entered a number is an digit, it's a number or a numeric. Okay, right. When coming to programming part, right? See, we have something called as sub procedures or functions or procedure. Yeah, this is something a procedure. I have given a name to the procedure, even at program. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Within this bounds, whatever the steps you write, it is called as some program. So how to write? See, our first requirement is to tell whether the entered number is a odd number or an even number. Okay, for this, right?
What is public servant?
Yeah, public I will tell you later. That is something called as access specifiers. We call public, private, and protected. So public in the sense these functions can be accessed from anywhere. If you are having 10 modules, so from the 10th module you want to access this function, you write it as a public. You can, if you write this as a private, this will be available only within that module. Suppose module, you cannot access that function from the 10th module, like that. Okay. Subcontent, this is something called default function. Default it will be public. The specifier will be public. Even you can access this method function from anywhere. And one more thing, sorry, before going to our program, right, today, right, we will discuss on keywords and data types. Because before going to program, right, you need to know what is a variable, what is a data type, and what are the data types available.
Hi, Srinivas.
Yeah.
It's very late night for me, and in the session, can you please share the video, the recorded video?
Can you repeat your question?
So I'm leaving the session now, it's very late for me.
Okay.
So you share the session, record the session. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Recorded session will be shared to you by Ram. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. See, here we have something called as keywords and VBA. Some as, empty, null, to, new, nothing, then. These are something called as keywords. And these keywords, when we are writing programming, how to make use of these keywords, I'll tell you. Okay. And we have something operators called as and, hyphen, star, um, backslash, forward slash, mod, less or equal to mod. Again, we will be seeing this mod function now. When we are writing a even or odd program, how to derive the logic. We will be we will be making use of this mod function, mod operator, and statements. In the last class, right, whenever while declaring their variable, we have started with the dim, some variable as string, some variable as integer. Okay, dim. Um, dim, what is reading, what is option explicit, what is option compare, go to etc. Maybe here we'll be mostly seeing the dim only. We'll be rarely seeing the reading option explicit. We don't need that higher, in this midterm, we don't need this. We will discuss in later. So now, like as said, right, what are the data types available? See, because before going to program, right, you want to verify a number whether it was odd or even, right? So we need to select a data type for your variable. Dim some we where variable as some data type. So what are the data types available? Data type is storage and its range. Some byte, it will store 1 byte of data in it, and its range is some 0 to 255. Boolean, 2 bytes of data it will be storing. It is true or false. Okay, and integer, 2 bytes of data will be stored. The integer data range will be starting from minus 32,768 to 32,767. So when you declare a variable type of integer and you try to do a value within this range, minus 32,768 to 30,000 plus 32,767. So if you are giving over and below the ranges, what will happen? Are you getting some error kind of thing? And are you able to process by selecting the data type as integer? Will be saying, because this is important in real time, right? See, people sectors when coming to banking domain, right? They'll be having some fund management. This fund management is some particular fund will have some value of 10,000 crores or something. So in order to store that type of values, right, before designing the program, you need to get details from the those guys. So what are all the funds and what value a fund has and how much value that fund can be increased. So basing on that requirement, POC, you need to prepare your Excel macros, because if you are value something like 10 crores, you cannot use integer there, right? So we need to make use of variable which can store that type of value. So integer will store this kind of value. Long, it has 4 bytes, and this can store something like this: minus 2, 147, 483, 648, 2, some 2, plus 2, 4, 147, 483, 647. So in the, if he has some temporal value, that can be accommodated in long type of variable, long type of data type. And what is single, double, currency, decimal, date, object, string, and string again, it has again two things: variable length and a fixed length. And variant. What is a variant? Uh, when you are writing some program, variant is actually this is something special data type available for us. When you don't know a data type of a variable, again this is very rarely used, and this will not be used always. We should be very cautious in using the variant data type. Suppose I don't know data type of a variable. Whatever the data I get, I don't know. So in that case, you can make use of a variant. Variant is nothing. Dim I as variant. So if you don't know what data it comes, it will take automatically. Whether you enter some string format of data, I have, or you enter some numeric kind of data, 500, 10,000 something, it will accept. There is no limit to this data type. Variant again comes in two things: variant with numbers, variant with characters, and lastly user defined using type. So now we'll make use of integer, and this thing, right? I will share you this PPT so that something you can revise it later. You can ask me doubts if you have. So coming back to our VB programming. So yes, I'm declaring a variable. So we will follow some standards like V, as discussed in automation class. This is a nice practice that we practice some standards like this. You can remember this as a variable. Anywhere, if you see on the programming, you can easily know that this is a variable, something kind of like it. Okay, and this is not case sensitive.
It will take, whether it will take
Yeah. First, right, before writing program, right, just we print that whatever we will go step by step. Let us see whether our program is correctly displaying the prompt box and it is provided a progression to data value. It is something called input box, not a prompt. We are getting some prompt box. Yes, we enter a number. So whenever you enter some number, right, you can go here 5 or 6. Right? So first step is clear. This is called input box, and you are accepting some number in the content, and you are printing that number. Okay? Now actually we go into the logic now. So our aim is to, this is something called comment section, like we see in commissioning area. If you write this comments, right, in future again we can refer like whatever the code was written, what is the purpose of that code, what it does. See. Now we make use of if condition.
That is something you have to
See, again execution, right? We can execute from here. This is something called we can execute our program something from here by focusing on that particular function or supposition. Or also we can execute from again from Excel like macros. So again, whatever the function we wrote within the VB editor, right, is comes here. So clicking on that and clicking on the run button, does the same. So now see, we will enter two and click on OK. The enter number is given. See, I have written something, a function called as a keyword called as mod. Actually, any one of you know that what this mod function is? Divided by divided by 2, and whatever the remainder comes, right, it will be we are analyzing that remainder. If it is divisible by 2 and the remainder is 0, simply it is called as even number, and if it is not divisible, then we call this odd number.
So if the number entered is 4 and divisible by 2, then the answer is 2. So 2 is not equal to 0. 4 by 2. 3 number is equal to 4. We are dividing by 2.
Remainder is factor, right? We enter 4. 4 is even, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Remainder should be 0. Yeah.
Zero. Odd.
So any doubts, guys? Online guys, nothing.
Oh, never on the question.
So no questions, right? Okay, fine. So this is like approach of writing some program. So first you need to know the requirement and how this requirement can be written into a program. So select some variable uh, like dimension v where v num as integer, and then uh, give me something called as say again, give me something called as a keyword. In order to declare a variable, right, in VB editor, we use this syntax dim venum as integer. This is a prototype or a protocol to declare a variable. Is it clear? And one more thing, see, while discussing data types, right, I told you, right, integer can hold value from minus 32,768 to plus 32,767, right? So I'm giving a value where it is greater than those limits. Okay. We will see what it does. Okay, I have given some value like this. Like this. Yeah. For so integer can hold value only up to that range, not above beyond that range. We have some other data type called long, right? If we are giving data above that range, and then we can make use of long.
768 minus 6 plus 767.
Exactly, I'm giving 32,767. Fine.
That number is not.
Yes. Even one digit will be processed. Again, like say we have something called as error handling. So this type of errors, right, user errors. So this can be again captured, and we need to present this errors also in such a way that the operation guys know what was error, because you write something in a program and you give the program without writing or handling the exception handling, error handling. So your program is incomplete. I would say that your program is incomplete without writing error handling. We will discuss some of these. So you have any questions? And this is something called as again if condition. We have make use of if condition. We are selecting like this. Uh, Better, right? I will explain you something. Uh, I have put a breakpoint about here and see how we started the execution. We will execute now step by step. What is happening? We will be seeing what is happening step by step. Step by step execution. Again, we need to make use of F8 key. F8 key will step from one statement to another statement. Okay. From the start, first step, it is asking us to enter a number. Okay. We are entering a number and then clicking on OK. It goes to the next step. Okay. In the first step, right, we have a variable vnum. So we can see on pointing, on taking our mouse cursor to that variable, it will show you whatever the value is holding. Okay, 10, and then see next step what was happening. After separate, see as this has done some mod operation and the remainder equals 0, it has come to this section. We have entered a given number. Message box. Even then click OK. Again, the next step what it is going end if statement. Again, ends up. Finally, program execution done. So when you use this debugging, you have written some code and you want to see results step by step what was happening each and every moment. And in those situations, we make this use of effect and debugging. So now we write another thing. Okay. Again, we'll make use of the same variable vnum. Okay. So can somebody tell me logic how to find positive number or negative number? Then
Minus.
If the number is greater than 0, then that is
greater
positive,
than
and
zero.
if
Yeah.
the number is
Right.
less than 0, then that is negative.
How can you implement that into steps? Easy for me.
First, you have to
Vnum is less than 0.
Sorry.
Vnum
Vnum.
less than 0.
Uh,
Message box is positive number.
same thing. Yes. Yes, it is. You need to follow some syntax kind of thing. Else and if there will be no space. And you have handled positive and negative, right? If you enter zero, zero also a condition, right?
You can keep greater or equal to 0.
Yeah, we can write. We will do something. We will comment this section so that it will be easy for us to execute the next steps. This is comment and this is uncomment.
Take that away from
Yeah. If you don't want to execute step by step, again press F5. So one, you enter number is positive. Number is negative. So, and zero also you have handled some condition, right? But what if something I am executing A, I am typing A and clicking on automatically variable cannot handle this thing and it will throw some error, right? Whenever an error comes, right, if you want to fix that error, so you can start pressing the debug and you can see where that error has come because we have some 10 steps of code and you don't know which step error comes, right? So you can press debug and at that point of statement, it will stop the execution for you. See, now I have made this data type as a variable. See, now see, let us see how this will act. So it can accept any kind of thing. Check it out. Number is positive. It is respond. So now see, you can try to enter something like this. You should not come here. We will handle some situation over here. See, it was not handling properly, right? I have entered some alphabet and it was saying that number it is positive. That should not be the case, right? You have written a program to know whether the entered digit was a positive or a negative number, right? Uh, when discussing over the PPT, I have told you something keywords, right? Keywords and function. We'll make use of one function called as isNumeric. IsNumeric of the. So we will verify whether if this entered was a numeric part or not, and then we will carry the rest of the operation. Now see, let us see how our program left. Okay. So in this case, right, when something a requirement comes from the guys, if you write a coding, if you think that you have written all the coding according to that, you are wrong. There should be some error handling kind of thing. Even this we can say an error handling kind of thing. So for today we have discussed what is a macro and the required macro, and I have shown you two programs. One is to find even or odd number, and one is to find positive or negative numbers. And today we are going to end the session. Yeah, please let me know if you have any questions. Online guys and offline guys. And updating tomorrow's session, right? Tomorrow Raj will not be taking session, and I will communicate to Ram today evening whether we have a session tomorrow or not. Online guys, is it okay for you?
What time, Srinivas?
Tomorrow, if we are having session, we will be going to have on 9 a.m.
9 a.m. to 10.
Yeah, 9 a.m. to 10.
Okay.
I will be communicating to Ram so that he will be mailing us an update.
Okay, Srinivas. Thank you.
Very good.